Masechta bava basra daf Yud Abed Beis. We're starting from 5 lines in the bottom. Ifra Humes. Sagt die Gebara Ifra Humes, Imre Shvaimalka, Ifra Humes, who was the mother of the Persian king, Shada Abba Dinai Lekam de Abba Ami. She sent 400 dinar before Rabbi Ami. We had a similar story with Rabbi Yosef. She sent 400 dinar to Rabbi Yosef and told him to do with that a big mitzvah. And the Gemara explained what was the big mitzvah, Pidyon Shvuim. So over here we have the story where she sent before 400 dinar before Rabbi Ami. V'lo yikablino. And Rabbi Ami didn't accept it. She sent it before Rabbi, and Rabbi accepted it. Mishum Shalom Malchus, because of Shalom Malchus. Rabbi Ami, and Rabbi Ami didn't do it because Rabbi Ami was under the Roman king, not the Persian king. So for him, it wasn't such. For him, it wasn't the union of Shalom Malchus. Rabbi Ami heard Ikbed. He was upset. Leslie, Bivaish, Tzira, Tishavana, Noshim Boys, Meiris Vaisa. Doesn't Rabbi hold that the moist that keeps the branches of a tree growing, when it depletes, it becomes dried up and it breaks easily? Al derech the schusim of tzedakah, if you don't accept it from them, and they lose more and more of their schusim, they become like a dried up tree, losing all its moist. And then Noshim Bois Midas, I say, even these umeis who are weak like women could even overcome these umeis. So he was upset. Why are you giving them more strength? Rabba is not arguing on the Yisad of Rabbi Ami. He also holds because of Shalom Malchus. But Rabbi Ami also obviously holds of Shalom Malchus, and Rabba is because of Shalom Malchus he did it. Rabbi Ami also understood that Rabba was chayav to accept the money because of Shalom Malchus. So why did he get upset on Rabba? Because Rabbi Ami felt that Rabba should have distributed it to Eivet Gechavim. And again, like I explained before, Rabbi Ami wasn't under the rulership of the Persian king, so for him it wasn't Shalom Malchus, but he understood that Rabba had to do it because of Shalom Malchus, but he was upset about the part that he didn't distribute to the Goyish Aniyim so that they shouldn't get the Schus Tzedakah. The Gemara continues, Rabba, he also understood that, and he distributed to Goyish Aniyim. Rabbi Ami the Ikvid and Rabbi Ami that he was makvid is only because of because they didn't finish the story before Rabbi Ami telling him that he actually did distribute it to the Gecham. Another story of tzedakah that's matzah mamas time. We looked at they said about Ben Yabin Tzaddik, who was in charge of the Kuppah Tzedakah of his city. One time, a woman who came to him in the year of hunger, she said to him, Rabbi, Panaseni, Rabbi, sustain me. Allah. He said to her, he swears, there's nothing left in the Tzedakah Pushka. She said, Rabbi, if you don't sustain me, a woman with her seven sons are going to perish. He got up and he took from his own money, which he had very little of. The Yamim, days after, he fell ill and he was about to die. The Malach said before Hashem, so you said whoever keeps alive, even one soul, is Mekayim, even one soul of a Yid, it's as if he was Mekayim a whole world. So, Okay, so it's as if he preserved the whole world. So it says the Gemara. So the Malach Yashar is saying that you said Kol HaMakayim, whoever preserves one nefesh mi Yisrael Kilukim Olim Malach. It's as if he preserved the full world. Umin Yaman Atzadik Shehechia Isha V'Shivela now. He was Mechayed, a woman with 7. He preserved a woman with 7 of her sons. Yamas B'Shon Malatas Halalu. Should he die so prematurely? Miyad immediately. They ripped up the Gzardin, and it says that they added 22 years to his lifetime. Over here it says that Bishan Muatis, and it says they added 22 years. Okay, we'll leave that for later. There was a story with Mumbaz HaMelech. He spent and depleted the whole. He was depleted a lot of the eitzes, a lot of the treasures of his father in the year of hunger, giving, sustaining the ani. And his brothers in the household ganged up against him. And we have they said, our fathers, your fathers, always gathered money and added more fortune, more money to the forefathers. And you instead are spending up all the treasures. Our fathers, meaning that only stored and gathered treasures in this world. But by my giving tzedakah, I have gathered a lot of treasures l'mayla. Never, like it says in the pasuk, emes me'eretz titzmach, that it says truth will grow from the earth. V'tzedek m'shamayim, tzedek l'oshen tzedakah m'shamayim nishkov. The schus of tzedakah looks down from above and rewards us. Our fathers, my father stored money in a place where it's insecure, people can get it. I stored it in a place where in a secure place where nobody can get it. Like it says in the pasuk, tzedek, which is righteousness, mishpat, but which is also lashon tzedakah, mechain kisacha. Are the tzedakah and justice are the foundation of Hashem's throne, which means that the tzedakah that he does is that money is stored under the Eibishter's throne and nobody can get to it. My fathers gathered such produce that doesn't have any dividends. It doesn't make any money. But I stored money for the minor where it does give off dividends. Which never, like it says in the pasuk, even tzaddik say about the tzaddik that it is good, and said it's tzaddik b'lashon tzedakah. When somebody who does the mitzvah tzedakah, kepri malaleyam, because they shall eat from the fruit of their ma'asim taim, of the schusim of tzedakah. So you see, there are proceeds, there are dividends. It says, "Mame, my father gathered treasures of money, and he can say it's nefashis. But I also gathered people who I have preserved to my tzedakah. Pri tzaddik, it says the fruit of a tzaddik, eitz chayim, is a tree of life. And it's a person who acquires nefashis. And such a person is chacham, is wise. So he did the wise thing by giving tzedakah because he preserves nefashis. And it says about lekech tzedakah, lekech nefashis is a chacham. My fathers gathered their wealth for others to use. But I gathered the wealth for myself. Like it says in the Pasuk, and for you it should be a tzedakah. That means that he gathered for himself. My father, another one, another milah of giving tzedakah. My fathers gathered the wealth for the world, for this world. I did it for the world to come. Like it says in the pasuk, that the tzedakah shall go before and the covet of Hashem shall be your reward. Okay, Zok the Gemara. We're going back to what the Mishnah said. The kana the Beis Dira. If he bought a Beis Dira, we learned in the Mishnah. If he bought it, usually you have to wait 12 months to be part of the city, to be mechuyev, to be mishtatev in the hitzais for the Shmiyas Ha'ir. But if he bought a house, then he becomes Kan Sha'ir. My sister like Shim Gamil. Our Mishnah doesn't follow Shim Gamil. The Tanya Shim Gamil in Kanaba Karka Kosha Arei Kan Sha'ir. For Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says even if he bought a little piece of karka, he's already considered as An Sha'ir. He doesn't have to buy a house. In fact, the Gemara on this price itself, Tanya, and the Shita of Rabbi Gamliel says you could buy a little piece of karka and you're already considered as a resident of the city that you a citizen of the city that you mechuyev to pay the itzayis for the shmir seir. But Tanya we learned from the Bible, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel in kana shem karka ro'iyah lebeis dira. We learned in the second price, not a karka koshu. He has to buy. And in Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, we learned that he has to buy enough karka to be able to build a dira. Versus the first price, it says he only has to buy karka for a koshu, even a little piece of karka, even if there's no room to build a dira. So it says, you want to trade Tanei, I'll leave Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. It's taka two Tanaim. Each price is a different Talmud saying the Shita of Rabbi Gamliel, and that's the machlekes between Talmud and what Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said. But B'Pel Mamish, the bottom line doesn't fit with our Mishnah, or it doesn't go with our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says he literally has to buy a house, and according to these two prices, he doesn't have to buy a house; he just has to buy land. Machlekes says how much land? A little piece of land, or land enough to be able to build a dira? Zok the Mishnah. If two people had houses with opening up to the same chutzner, a common chutzner. So if they want to divide that chutzner, so they can only divide it if there's enough of 4 amos for each of them. And neither a field could one force the other one to divide unless each one has 9 covenant with which to work with the field. Now Yehuda says it could be even just 9, half a carbon for each one of them, and then one can force the other one to divide. Not a garden of vegetables, till each one will be, after the division will remain with a chatzi kav. Rabbi Akiva says even a quarter of a kav for each one can force the other one to divide. Not a palace, not a room, not dot cut, and neither it's not a bathhouse, and not an olive press, so that lives off the Mayan irrigated field. And until each one will have enough to work with. This is the rule. Anything that has, if the dividing has the shear to function as if before dividing it, and then you divide it, and it has its the same name as before because it has the same functions. But if after you divide it cannot have the same function as before you divide it, which is a different name, then you don't divide. You can't force them to divide it. A Masai, when do we say the shiurim bismat shein shneim reitzim? Only when neither of them want to divide it. So then you say the shiurim, one could force it. Only if you have the shear. But in a time when they both want, even if it has less than the shiurim that we had above mentioned, you still divide it. So it's pshita. So the Gemara says, we said it before, he's come to teach you the chiddush on the last words of the Mishnah. If alpha pisha shneim reitzim, and even if they both want to divide it, they won't divide it. So the the 4 amos that we said that each one can force the other one to divide if the division 4 amos for each of them. That's aside for the 4 amos that you give in front of the entrance for them to unload, come with the donkey and unload the packages from the donkey. So besides for that, they have an additional 4 amas in the chutzah for the regular usage of the chutzah. Tanya, let me help you with the Braisa similarly. We don't divide our chutzah till each one will be left with 8 amas. How could you say that? Well, no, we learned with Haidish in the Mishnah. That the division is done when each one has, after the division is 4 amas for each of them. No, is right from here. Like Rav Asi said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, that we said that there's 4 amas for each of them, that's aside from the 4 amas that we give for the entrance, for them to, which is like part of the house, part of the entrance of the house, where they have to unload the packages. Chutz from those 4 amas, you give them an additional 4 amas in the chutzah, which is for separate usage. The others learn it not as a braisa, that's a rayit Rav Asi. They learn it as a kasha. They had a stira between the Mishnah and the braisa. Now we learn from the Mishnah that we don't divide a chutzah until there's 4 amas for each of them. In fact, what about time? But we learned in the braisa that you divide only if each one is left with 8 amas after the division. And the 4 amas that we learned in the Mishnah, after the division are left with 4 amas, that's chutz mishal psachim, aside from the 4 amas that we give for in front of the entrance for them to unload the packages. Avuna said that if a father left over for 2 children 2 different houses, and one house had lamashal 3 doors and the other one had 1 door, so the chutz is divided according to the doors. The one that has 3 doors gets the 3/3 and the 3/4, and the one that has 1 door gets 1/4. Or if he had 2, there was 2 doors, and one house had 2 doors and one house had 1 door. The one that has 2 doors gets 2/3, and the one that had 1 door gets 1/3. No, the chutz is not divided according to the doors. Rather, the one that has more doors, he just gets 4 amas in front of each Pesach. And if he gave each one the 4 amas in front of the Pesachim, in front of the door openings, the rest of the chutz is divided equally. We learned in the is that the entrances of the chutz has 4 amas. If one had a house with 1 Pesach, and the other one had a house with 2 Pesachim opening up to the same chutzah, the one that has 1 opening gets 4 amas of the chutzah for his opening. The one that has 2 openings gets 8 amas for corresponding 4 amas for each opening. And the rest of the chutzah, you divide it equally, so it's exactly like Avdizad said. If one had the opening, not just 4 amas, he had 8 amas wide, so then he takes in the chutzah 8 amas according to the width of his opening, and then he gets 4 amas in the chutzah. Why does he get an additional 4 amas in the chutzah? Abaye said, no, he takes in the width corresponding to the opening of the chutzah of his house, and then in the depth he's not getting additional 4 amas. He gets in that width 4 amas deep into the chutzah. That's all. He gets 4 amas deep in the depth of the chutzah. According to the opening of the chutzah, he goes down up to 4 amas. High pit of the sufli. This pit in which they threw in the garine of the tmarim, the seeds or the pits of the tmarim, which was for a Michael Behema, which was to feed the Behema. Yesh loy, if he inherited that pit, yesh loy dal ruach. He gets 4 amas around the whole pit, because his father gave him as inheritance to be able to use the pit, and they threw the pits of the dates from all sides. That's why he gets 4 amas from all sides. This was not said only if there wasn't a designated entrance to that pit where they threw in the seeds or the pits of the dates. But what if they did have a special opening? Then he only gets 4 amas according to the opening of that. If the father always used to go only one path towards the pit to throw in the pits of the dates, then he only gets the 4 amas of that opening. A pavilion is a opening of a chutzah, meaning it's not. I'm sorry. That the aksada that opens up to a chutzah. Aksada is 4 poles like a gazebo, and with a rooftop, so you can come in from all sides. Eila daladamas doesn't have daladamas. Tainamai, what's the whole reason why you get daladamas in front of a Pesach in the chutzah mishum perik masay in order to unload the packages? But over here, but here by the aksada there's no walls. He can come in with his behema into the aksada and unload. So that's why he doesn't get a dalamas at the opening of the aksada towards the of the chutzah for amas. It says but inside the openings of the bottom, inside the opening of the aksadas, they get dalamas in the chutzah in front of the opening. So you want to keep Tanya, when did we learn that baraisa by the aksada? So the cheda is a kasha. We said by aksada it doesn't get 4 amas at the entrance. It says you want this baraisa that he says he does get 4 amas in 4 amas in the of the entrance of the aksada. Is by aksada the way is talking about the aksada of the Beis Hamedrash, which there are 4 walls surrounding, but there were windows from the ceiling to floor. So that's why it was called aksada. It's aksada of the Beis Hamedrash, which was closed with windows. It's a regular cheder, it's a regular room. So it's simple. It's not a place where you could bring in an animal to unload. It was filled with the stuff. It's talking about aksada which was walls, but very low walls. It didn't reach to the ceiling. And we would have thought, okay, he should be able to bring in his animal to unload there. So we said no, because once it has a little bit of walls, they would keep stuff over there, so you wouldn't be able to unload over there. That's why we gave in front of such aksada 4 amas, even by aksada and yosa, 4 amas in front of it. Even though it looks like people wouldn't keep stuff because there were low walls. This small structure that they put in front of the palace. So aksada, or like we said, aksada is a pavilion. Umapes is like a porch. Yesh lehem daladamas. They have 4 amas in the chutzah. They get 4 amas in the chutzah. Once if on the second floor you had 5 families that opened up to one porch, and that porch had steps going down to the chutzah. So do we give each of the families 4 amas, or we say, okay, since it's a common staircase that goes down to the chutzah, ein lahem ela aba amas bavad. He tells you only get 4 amas alone, and we don't give for each family an additional 4 amas. A chicken coop, yesh le dalad amas, ein le dalad amas. Does he get 4 amas at the entrance of the chicken coop or not? Amalei, Rabbi Yanai said, what's the whole reason that we give 4 amas of the chutzah at the entrance of a house, mishum perik masay? Because that's part of the entrance where you have to unload the packages. Over here, the chickens jump over in and jump over out. So therefore, you don't give them an extra 4 amas for the chicken coop. But a house that has half covered with a rooftop, and a half that's uncovered and it's opened up to a chutzah. Does he get 4 amas in the chutzah or not? He doesn't get 4 amas in the chutzah. For sure, if the roof, the ceiling that covers the part of the house was on the inside, and the one closest to the chutzah was uncovered, that's the ayla gava. He can go into the part of the house where it's uncovered, that's right next to the chutzah, and unload it. Even if the outer one closest to the chutzah is covered with a rooftop, we still don't give him 4 amas, because he's able to go further in into the house where it's uncovered, where there's no rooftop, and unload over there. Wait a minute, Rabbi Huna is a shiloh for Rabbi Ami. Mavui, Echad Bnei Mavui, Shabik Shlahas, Piskul Mavi Acher. Mavui is alleyway, where a whole bunch of chatzedas are opened up to the alleyway. It's a dead end. So now there was one aisle of the dead end that was opened up to another dead end on the other side. So what happened was that this one of them named Mavui wanted to open up his entrance to the other side, meaning to the other Mavi, to the other alleyway, which is on the other side of the house. So the shaila was Bnei Mavi ma'achun alav or ein ma'achun alav. Could the new Mavi where he wants to open up to, where he was never opened up to, could they hold him back from opening up his chutzah towards that Mavi? Amalei. So Rav Ami said back to Avon, Bnei Hamavi ma'achun alav. The Bnei Hamavi could block him because they don't want to have more traffic in the alleyway. Achsanya, the soldiers that is placed on the city to give them a place to live, the lodging overnight. Lefi bnei adam and the schalak say lefi apsach mischalekes. Does it go according to the families? That's according to the families that's how many people, how many soldiers get lodging, or it goes according to the entrances. Amalei lefi bnei adam mischalekes. Aviyami answered Avuna that the achsanya, the soldiers get according to the families. That's how it's divided. That's how many a soldier per family, not according to the entrances. Tanya Nami Achi, we learned similarly in the Brais, the zevel that's thrown into the chutz and then it turns into fertilizer. So it's divided. Those fertilizer is divided according to entrances. Even though at one entrance you have, let's say, 3 families that through that one entrance zevel, that zevel, that fertilizer is divided between the 3 people because it goes according to the entrance. Whoever uses that entrance. The soldiers go according to the families. So here's a raya that Achsanya goes according to the families, not according to the entrances. One of them, Neyamavi, wanted to use part of the alley that he has 4 arms of the alleyway in front of his entrance of his chutzah. So he wanted to enclose that part of the Mavi, those 4 arms, to use it for himself. Bnei Mavi could hold him back from doing that. Because he's making them, when they're walking from the alleyway towards the Shusram, from the dead end towards the Shusram, so they have to go around the wall that he built in the 4 armies of the Mavi. So therefore they could stop him. There were 5 yards that opened up into the one alleyway. So the inner one is the dead end. The outer one is the closest to the Shusram. So the inner ones, all the inner ones could use the outer ones 4 armies in the Mavui to be able to go to the Shusram. So all the inner ones have the right to use the outer one. But the outer one that's close to the Shusram, he could only use his 4 armies of the Mavui closer to the Shusram, but he cannot use the 4 armies of the inner ones. He can only use his. And the rest of the Chatzedes, Mishtamshes im Hashniya. But the rest of the Chatzedes, the second one, the Mashal, the most inner ones can use the second one and the outer one. Hashniya, Mishtameshes le'atzma, u'Mishtameshes le'atzena. The inner ones can use the second one, but the second one closest to the Shusarabim can use the second chutzah away from the Shusarabim, meaning his own chutzah, plus the next chutzah closer to the Shusarabim. You can use it together with the most outer one. Nimtze, so you see, hapnim is mishtamesh la'atzma. But you find over here, the most inner one, uses the inner one, he gets to use it for himself. Nobody is going down to the dead end. The whole Mavi is made to go out to the Rosh Hashanah. So the most inner one, nobody has the right to use his 4 arms of his chutzah. But he, the most inner one, can use all the chatzeres leading towards all the 4 arms of the Mavi open to the other chatzeres leading towards the Rosh Hashanah. So this is a kasha Rav Huna said that the name Mavoi could hold back anybody from building a wall around the four amas in the Mavi. Why? We know the most inner one, we just learned, he's allowed to build a wall around it because nobody's allowed to use his four amas of the Mavi because he's at the dead end. And they're not going towards the dead end. They can only use those four amas of the Mavi going towards the Rosh Hashanah. So you're right. Tanoi, it's Taka Machliks of Tanoi. The Tanya that we learned in the Braisa, one of the Bnei Movu that wanted to open up a new opening towards the other side, like we learned before. His house was between two alleyways, and he had always had his entrance on one alleyway. Now he wants to open up to the new alleyway. To the new alleyway that he wants to open up, the people of the new alleyway that he wants to open up could hold him back from doing it because he's causing more traffic. Once if he had the entrance to the alleyway and then he closed it, and then he wanted to reopen it, the Bnei Mavui cannot hold him back because he already bought that schus over there. He just closed it up and then he's just reopening. Those are the words of Rabbi. The 5 chatzeres that are open to the Mavui, those 5 chatzeres that are open to the Mavui, everybody could use all those 4 amis of the Mavui throughout the whole alleyway. Who mentioned about the chatzeres open to the Mavui, about those 4 amis? We're not talking about, where's Rebbe arguing about chatzeres? It's missing words. Meaning, what did Rebbe say in the gate of the Chomish chatzeres that are open to the Mavui that Rebbe Shimon Elazar had to argue on it? We don't see Rebbe talking about it. There's words, missing words in the Mishnah. And this is how you have to learn it. So too, the 5 chatzeres that were open to the Mavui, they were all used. They were all able to be used with the outer 4 ames of the Mavi, meaning the chatzar that was closest to the Rishus Rabbim. All the inner ones were able to use those 4 ames of the Mavi that belonged to the chatzar closest to the Rishus Rabbim. The most outer chatzar closest to the Rishus Rabbim, he could only use his 4 ames of the Mavi. Only his. He cannot go in and use others. Those are the words of Rebbe. But Rabbi Shimon Elazar argued. He says, no, everybody, even the most outer one, close to the Shusarabim, he doesn't only get to use the 4 amas of the Mobi corresponding to his chatzar, he can use the whole alleyway going till the dead end, even the most inner one. The Tana said, if his wall entrance was closed up, and he wanted to open up, and he wanted to reopen it, the Mabui cannot stop him from opening it. Because it was once open, so he had the schus over there already. He bought those chusim. This is only providing that he didn't remove the frame, the 2 doorposts with the lentil on the top. But if you remove the whole entrance, the whole frame of the entrance, and he built the whole wall closing it, then the Bnei Mavui, the alleyway could block him from reopening. It says by Yisosum, a house that was closed up. Yesterday, Abayis that was closed up. He gets 4 amas in front of the entrance as if it was open. When was these words said? He still gets the 4 amas in the Mavui in front of the entrance while it's still closed. That's only as long as he didn't remove the frame of the house. But Parat says, but if you remove the whole frame of the entrance, then he doesn't get the Dalar Amas at all. This Gersa, I'll just say it, a kever that was open and it was closed temporarily, it's not Matama all around. Only in front of the entrance that officially there was an opening. But if you remove the whole entrance to the keva and it was fully closed, then it's matama all around the keva, 4 amos all around the keva. Plus, because when somebody comes, he should not bend over the keva and be mal ala mace. A house that was closed and there was a mason there. It doesn't. It's not matama all around the house. Only against the Pesach it's matama. But if he destroyed all the whole frame of the house, matama kosviva. But then it's matama the whole surrounding 4 amos all around, like we say by a keva, a regular keva. When we spoke about Mumbaz, I just want to say Mumbaz was the son of Esther Malka, was from the kings of the Chashmonaim. Others say that it was a goy and it's Chmigai.